Join Gator great Shane Matthews every weekday as he brings you all you need to know about your Florida Gators, including news, analysis, and opinions with some of the biggest names in sports. Find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. Or watch us live at 8 a.m. on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter.
Good morning, live edition of Matthews in the Morning from the International Diamond Center Studios, locations across the state of Florida, right there at Celebration Point in the heart of Gator Nation. Comfort Temp Heating Air is your number one local HVAC company, offering $1,000 off new installation on units and 10% off any additional services through December. Go visit them at comforttemp.com. Today we'll have JC and we'll have Mike Morgan. We'll get his thoughts on the college football and basketball landscape. He's called several basketball games so far. If you were there Saturday night in the swamp, God bless you. Dear God. Worst football I've ever seen in my life, JC. You're on the Titan More Hotline, courtesy of Comfort Temp. I don't have to say it.
Listen,
it's the honest truth.
Well, I think it's pretty much they've packed it in. QB, when Tennessee was losing every year, and when Tennessee came here and lost just basically because they showed up, they couldn't win, and Tennessee was terrible. It's because they had bad coaches. They didn't have the right coaches. And what Tennessee did from the top down was hire a new athletic director. And that athletic director's guy's name was Danny White. And he was at Central Florida. And you know what he did, QB? He brought his football coach to the University of Tennessee. And they didn't pay him a fortune. They gave him $4 million. And they said, here, run this program and make us win. And I'm starting to wonder if really a change doesn't need to be had at the top all the way down. But the reason I say that is because there's every reason to believe that the next hire here is, in my opinion, is not going to be somebody that overwhelms everybody, because if Lane Kiffin doesn't come, really, who are you excited about? And so all I can say is the guys upstairs, the benefactors of this program that I rubbed elbows with this weekend, they are very I think they're somewhat apathetic to everything right now, and that's the worst thing you can have is apathy. You want them to care, but at the same time, at least these folks have just basically thrown their arms up and said, as long as we've got those who are leading this program still in charge, why should we expect anything to change for the better? And it's because it can't get much worse. So that's the answer to that question. But to me, QB. As what I said all night long, I want, and I know I've said this before and you've kind of brushed it off, and that's fine. I don't care. I want Florida Gators to be hired to run the Florida Gators from the top down. And that means from the very top down. And I just don't think that's going to happen.
So, JC, let me ask you this.
It should. It really should.
Do you think that would make a difference? I'm just asking.
I think over time yes, because I think it would energize everybody. And I think people who have been to this school, who have a genuine love for it, not who are from some other place getting a large paycheck to come here, but who have been here before, who have won in this location before, I think that would allow them to sell it better to both transfer portal players and recruits.
The schools, the transfer, look, I hear what you're saying, but you just talked about Tennessee. They didn't do any of that.
No, they didn't, because
then in your school,
Peyton Manning didn't want to. But if they had hired Peyton Manning, I think he would have done just as good a job as Josh Heupel. I really do, because
your school didn't do that.
Well, QB, listen, I'm talking about Florida. I'm just talking about Florida here. I mean, Gene Stallings, when he was hired to pull Alabama out of the cellar after Bear died, he talked like Alabama. He did coach with Bear Bryant. He knew all about Alabama. He loved Alabama, QB. This guy Napier didn't even know where the freaking beach was or what it was called. Okay, he couldn't name 3 condominium complexes over at Crescent Beach. He sucked what he did to this program. And we're paying him $20 million because of the incompetence of the negotiators negotiating on the side of the University of Florida. Oh, you know what? We'll fire you, but if you get another job, we'll go ahead and pay you off anyway. What a bunch of losers. So the thing is, I loved seeing the mayor. I loved seeing Eric and David and Brett over there at Harmonic Woods. I loved going to that new bar called Rudy's, whatever the hell it's called, right next to the Salty Dog that had a line going outside of it. And I loved going to your tailgate and seeing all your friends and meeting some boosters and bull gators and drinking all that free liquor. I had a great time. I had a damn good time. But when that game started, QB, it just went south.
Bad. It went exactly how I thought it was going to go.
Well, I picked Tennessee, by God.
Yeah.
I did. But I wasn't proud of that. It was pretty easy. It was a pretty easy pick.
Tim says on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mel, it's rivalry week. Let's get off the coaches list. No, nobody cares about this game. Nobody. I mean, it's true.
Well, I mean, there are fans that do care.
Look, the Gator Nation is phenomenal. It's a packed house. We're bad.
They show up, baby. They show up, and they show up with enthusiasm. God bless them. They deserve better.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm saying from the top down, we've got to get Gators in here to make the Gator Nation happy. And yeah, I think it would make a difference, QB. Maybe I'm wrong. But my God, you want to go hire some guy with a freaking master's degree from some college up north to come down here and say, okay, this is what you guys need to do. I think we've been through that. Let's bring a Florida Gator back in here. There's got to be one out there, QB. My goodness, it's the largest university in the South. It's got the biggest alumni base, or one of the biggest in the country. You're telling me you can't find somebody to run? We've had how many players run through here and win championships, whether it be a conference championship or a national championship? Give me a break. They can absolutely hire some freaking former Gators to come in here and run this program. I'm sorry, they can. And I don't know why it'd be such a bad thing. I think it'd be a great thing. And I don't know why more people don't talk about it. But that's how I would do it. But you're asking me, and that's how I do it, QB. I don't give a damn. I don't want to hire some coach that won 9 games one year at this school, and yeah, he's the hot name on the list, because sometimes those coaches, their names cool off and go away. And I think we've seen that before, and we've had enough of it.
Text on the Titan Mar text line. This is from Kevin. Says, guys, I think Kiffin is trolling LSU because of what they did to his old buddy, Coach O. What do you think? I also think Sexton may be using Kiffin as leverage to get Brian Kelly paid. I don't know if Brian Kelly's his client.
Well, Brian Kelly doesn't need leverage. He's got legalities that will allow him to get paid.
He can do whatever he wants to get his money.
But you have to wonder about a school that wants to hire you that won't hire the guy they agreed to pay when they did hire him. Now, think about that. They're going to give me $100 and some odd million, or so they say, but they're not even going to pay off the guy they promised the last $54 million to. Right? So why would I want to go there? Make that make sense for me. Somebody tell me why that makes sense. That they're trying to screw Brian Kelly over, but yeah, they'll hire me and treat me good. That's a great idea. Let's go to LSU, Loser State University. All right. They've had their stadium emptied how many times in the last 5 years? Plenty. So I'm not going there. He's got to be out of his mind. I'd rather stay at Ole Miss if I'm not coming to Florida. If I decided, okay, I'm not going to Gainesville, I'm sure as hell not going to LSU. They can't even pay off the guy they kicked out of there. And I got it made here in Mississippi. I can get $13 million out of Mississippi, but again, remember, for Lane Kiffin, it's not about the money, QB.
It's not. I really believe it's not. Michael from Tennessee says, I never thought I would ever see a Gator team this bad. Against Tennessee, it seemed most of the team had no heart and didn't care. Ball and Miles are few examples who didn't quit against Tennessee. Florida needs a refund from DJ. The next coach needs to make it a privilege to be a Gator. They need to be taken to the visitors' locker room and earn the right to be Gators, no wearing Gator gear like Urban Meyer did. I don't disagree with any of that. Congratulations, by the way, to Urban. He will be going to the Ring of Honor and was acknowledged for his College Football Hall of Fame induction coming up. This is a text from Rick in Jupiter. Can you explain to those that don't understand critical thinking that you never said Lane to LSU was the favorite? I saw a lot of clips and mentions on social media reporting you said Lane to LSU, and I know as an avid listener, you never said the sort. I still think we got a good chance of getting it.
Okay. All right. Well, you know what? We're going to find out in about.
Here's the thing, JC. I think he's already, I've said it multiple times. I think he's made up his mind. Lane, likes the attention, right?
Sure.
We'll find out Saturday. We're gonna
know this week, and we can finally put this behind us. And I think that's good for all involved, and I think it's good for the University of Florida to move forward. I think we've kind of been stuck in this Lane Kiffin exit right now. We're trying to get back in the car and get back on the highway. one
Yeah.
way, either with him or without him.
Right. Yeah, Kerwin's quarterback. Silent J on YouTube brought to you by Quad Plum says Shane Dickens to the portal, Lane's next QB. I don't know. He's a little guy, but he's a damn good player. But Kerwin lost another good one.
Well, Kerwin is a name that I love, but some guy here says, yeah, get over it. It's ridiculous. I guess he's referring to my idea that a Florida Gator can't run this program. I don't know.
Well, it's not that they can't. They're just not going to be given an opportunity. Let's phrase it that way.
Well, again, what did I start this with? Change from the top down. Well, that's not going to happen. They just renewed the guy for another 5 years until he retires in 2030. But it could. How many times do you have to see an empty stadium until you make a change? And it happens quicker than you think.
Well,
So
our stadium ain't been empty. That's the problem.
it was in the second quarter.
Well, when you're getting your brains beat down.
Well, that's the whole point.
Here's the thing is I've said multiple times on this program, when people were complaining about Billy's play calling, that there was nobody on this staff that could call plays.
Yeah.
I think that's very obvious. Alan in Atlanta on the Titan More text line. You'll never convince me that Strickland was ever all in on hiring Lane Kiffin. Scott's doing just enough PR-wise to appease the fan base to make it look like we want him, but falling short on the kind of push Bama made for Saban. Lane would easily figure that out. He spoke openly in the ESPN documentary about being lied to by Al Davis and USC. In my opinion, he's hypersensitive to not make that mistake again. No reason to go somewhere where your boss isn't fully invested in you and your success.
Okay, that's fine. Then somebody tell me why Scott Strickland isn't fully invested with Lane Kiffin.
Well, there's been reports, and again, you don't know what to believe over the years, that he did not want Lane. I think he also got a show cause against Lane's brother at Ole Miss or somewhere. Whatever. It doesn't matter. None of that matters. But somebody texted for some reason, JC, you and I could not come up with the Heisman winners that Lincoln Riley had coached. They texted them to me. Can't believe we didn't remember these.
Oh, yeah.
I knew Baker, Kyler Murray, and Caleb Williams.
Oh.
They're all pretty good players, by the way.
Kyler Murray, well, okay. But Caleb Williams, yeah. Wow. All right. Well, listen, Lincoln Riley still hasn't figured out how to stop anybody. So if you want to hire him, you better find a guy who can coach defense.
That's fine. I'll roll the dice. At least
well, you already rolled the dice. Why are we rolling the dice still?
No. He is a proven coach. He's been in the playoffs. He's got 3 Heisman winners. There's no rolling the dice with him. I don't give a damn if we don't even put 11 guys out there on defense when he's the coach. I know we're going to score.
You lost your mind when this school couldn't tackle anybody the last 3 years. What are you talking about?
I still don't. I didn't think our defense was good this year, even early in the year. Teams didn't attack it the way they should. But the bottom line is, whoever our coach is, better know how to put points on the board and handle quarterbacks.
Yeah.
If you don't, you cannot win at this level. I really believe it.
I don't doubt that. I mean, the only reason Vandy's winning anything is because of the quarterback position.
Yeah, I don't want to hear anything about Clark Lee. It's a great story.
It's a great story, but he's
Diego
not the guy.
Pavi's a good player, but Vanderbilt is Vanderbilt.
Well, QB, what did they do? They hired a guy from Vanderbilt.
That's fine. That's fine. That's great for Vanderbilt. I still cannot watch the way they play football. It's boring as hell to me. Boring.
Yeah, well, they're winning. That's
fine, but wait till next year. When that guy's gone, I'm telling you, this is Mike Norvell 2.0.
Yeah.
With Travis Hunter. What was the guy's name? I can't even remember that quarterback's name now.
Who? The guy at Florida State?
Yeah. Somebody tell us.
Loudmouth. The guy that said Alabama wouldn't have Saban.
No. I'm talking about the guy that took him to 13-0 and broke his leg.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Okay.
They have not done anything without that kid at quarterback. Nothing.
No, they haven't.
Electronics World Integration Design Specialist for Smart Home Automation and Entertainment. It's Gator season. Let Electronics World bring the Florida Gators, college football, basketball, and NFL to your living room. Check them out at electronicsworld.com. We'll have Mike Morgan's second portion of today's show. We're just sitting here reminiscing the wonderful night in the swamp.
Well, the good news is that, as I told somebody, it'll all be over really soon. And you can put it this season in the rearview mirror and hopefully forget it forever. There are people, though, that are excited about watching Florida State QB. There'll be a big crowd there.
Yeah. I mean, it should be. This was sent Friday from Monty. He wanted to know about Joey McGuire at Texas Tech. Listen, Joey McGuire is going to get paid whatever they want to pay that dude at Texas Tech. They have money just flowing out of water hoses there. He's not going anywhere.
Yeah. Jordan Travis was the name of the
That's
guy.
it, Jordan Travis.
Jordan Travis. Thank you, Tony and UF Gator UF and Cliff 19. AU Gator 1. DJ Durkin changed quarterbacks. Why would a coach stay with a quarterback (parentheses Lagway) when they're ineffective? I think you have an answer for this.
Well, Deuce Knight played. He was a highly acclaimed kid from the state of Mississippi, believe it or not. He was initially committed to Notre Dame, I think, and then he flipped to Auburn.
Yeah.
But they played him in that game because the other kid that played pretty well the previous week for Auburn, they needed to save his red shirt. So they figured it out where both kids can still redshirt, I think.
Well, I think the question was also referring to, if Durkin can make an on-the-cuff adjustment. Now, you explained why he did this, but I don't think AU Gator 1 knew that. He was just referring to why does Lagway still get to play when he's so ineffective?
I don't know the answer. I don't coach this team, but Coach Spurrier knows
Well, you said
play
before
more than anybody in America, and he would have played the other kid.
Well, you said a lot of it had to do with some of the pressures from off the field with the money and the
It
parents.
could be. I don't know. I'm just guessing because that's what happens in the NFL, right? They throw these first round picks in there. The veterans are like, why are we playing this guy? But they put the money into him, and it is or whatever. So, all right. JC, how did our picks do, by the way?
Well, I did a little bit better this week.
How did I do?
Well, you were 4, 8, and 3.
I was. I had 3 pushes.
Well, you did. You pushed the Cincinnati Bengals. Wait a minute, didn't they lose by?
They won, dude.
The Bengals lost.
Yeah, but they only lost by like 6 points.
Right, and they were laying. New England was laying 6.
Oh, I thought they were getting over a touchdown.
No, it was 6 on here. And then we pushed Kansas City with 3, and we pushed the Arizona Jaguars game. That was a 3-point finish yesterday in overtime. Thank God the Jags won. Huge win, maybe the biggest of the season for Jacksonville, only because the Colts lost and because Jacksonville got a win on the road and has a very easy, winnable game at Tennessee coming up. And then, some of your losses, for some reason you liked Kentucky and I did too, but you also liked Arkansas and I took Texas. And then you liked Syracuse and I liked Notre Dame, and you liked Southern Cal and I did too. But you did take Pittsburgh and I took those idiots from Georgia Tech.
See, I'm telling you, look, I think Brent Key's a really good football coach.
Yeah, he's a Georgia Tech football coach.
But he's a lot like Will Muschamp. They're going to play boring, good defense.
Yeah.
But you get behind, you're done.
Well, I don't know. Haynes King, I guess, just didn't have it that day.
Well, he's not a good thrower. They run the quarterback power in him.
Run the power.
But again, Pitt has a true freshman quarterback that is a stud.
For some reason, we both took Maryland. But Cincinnati was beaten by BYU. I think BYU's a playoff team. I really do. I think they'll make the playoff. I think they could easily them and Texas Tech from the Big 12 could make the playoffs. I believe that. I know one of them will, but both of them probably should. They're both very deserving, I think. I had we both won with Charlotte against Georgia. And again, Texas was. I think that Texas A&M game is going to be insanity. You'll want to watch that just for the sheer pageantry of that game and the passion in that game. And that will be also televised at the same time Alabama and Auburn is on. And for Alabama, the whole season is on the line here. They have to
look
win.
out.
Yeah,
new quarterbacks could cause problems for your
That's
defense.
right. And this DJ Durkin is a real good defensive coordinator. And if Alabama is one-dimensional, like I've been complaining about all year long, Alabama's going to struggle. I just see it. I see these things because when you can't do something, the other team will capitalize on that if they have any brains in their head. And so I think, it was what it was. Missouri and Oklahoma, that game went under. We said that on JC win with JC, but Missouri or Oklahoma covered because Missouri's quarterback was ineffective. He couldn't throw the ball. He had been out for 3 weeks. Eli Drinkwitz did not make the change. He stuck with Pribula, and they got They got nothing. They got nothing.
Yeah.
Oklahoma did just enough to win, keep their playoff hopes alive. They have to win next week against LSU. They probably will, and they'll be a playoff team. LSU beat Western Kentucky by 3 points. You think those fans are happy over there?
Yeah, they didn't have a lot of people there either. Cliff on YouTube wrote about Kawhi Plum says, I know it's impossible, but do you think Brian Schottenheimer, what do you think of him leading the Gators? Why would Schotty leave America's team, right?
And everything they have in Dallas, there's zero possibility.
Yeah, he doesn't want to get back into college. He had a couple of years with Georgia. This text on the Take No More text line says, Shane, do you think Layla could have a bigger effect getting Lane to Florida? Feinbaum thinks so. It's a business decision, but we know the Kiffin family. I don't. Again, Layla and Lane are not married.
Right. That's what I was going to say. If they were married, it might be different.
Yes.
They're not married.
Yeah. So I don't know how that affects anything.
Does the child playing high school football mean anything to you?
I don't think so. I don't think you.
What about the daughter who's a junior there at that school?
No, hell no. I mean,
think
about how many coaches you
together.
Go, JC. Think about how many coaches you know around the world where their kids go to other schools.
Oh no, I get it. But for a coach to have both his kids in the same town that he's actually coaching in and thriving and having a family,
that's usually what happens when you're married.
When you're married
there, and then they decide where to go to college, right?
Right. When you're married, he's not, and he's got both his kids in the same town. He's making $10 million in. That's a good life.
I don't think there's any way he stays at Ole Miss.
Okay.
Anyway.
Well, do you think he's going to LSU? Do you think he's going to Florida?
I'm having better feelings on it. All right, so this text here on the Titan More text sign says, is it true that Dan Mullen's Gainesville house sold last week? Can we see what Doring says about the purchase of it? It used to be Dan's house when he was here, but somebody else recently lived in it, put it up for sale, and that was bought, but not by Layla, Lane, Layla's mom, or Layla's aunt. No, it was sold to somebody else.
We're looking at real estate.
Yeah, now I'm a realtor, but I do know who bought it, but it was nobody involved in coaching.
Please, let's get to Friday. That's all I can say.
No, it's got to be Saturday, JC. Nothing's happening Friday.
Okay, sorry, he's playing on Friday. I really enjoyed, by the way, meeting Sean Kelly, the voice of the Gators.
JC, tell everybody about your great outing at the Gator Golf.
I tell you, the golf team. Let's talk about something positive.
Yeah,
the damn golf team. And meeting JC Deacon, I can see why his kids want to play golf for him. What a fine individual he is. I should have given him some guff about the Toronto Maple Leafs and their slow start. He would have engaged me on that. But it was great seeing him. It was about raising money for the boosters, of which I'm going to become one. And then the girls golf team that Emily Glazer has gotten put together from far reaches of the universe to come to Gainesville. And, a transfer from Virginia who can hit it 280. Very pleasant young international players coming into the University of Florida, being a part of the Gators, the Gator world. And watching a local player who played at PK Young, who is now playing for the Florida Gators, a freshman. And you would have thought she was a senior with the way she carried herself. Very confident. Huber, I believe, is her last name. So I think the golf team is in great shape. And if we could get a little more parking over there, it'd be wonderful. But it's great shape. It's great. It's in great shape. You only get to see them one time during the season play in front of you, and that's during the Gator and Lady Gator Invitational in February. I believe it's in February and March is when you'll see them play. But I had a great time. The course was phenomenal. The company was wonderful. Seeing all the folks out there that support this program makes me very happy. And so I had a wonderful day, and I got to meet Sean Kelly, the voice of the Gators. So that was a wonderful thing. Tom was great. You were great. All of the guys that were there because they wanted to be, and I think that's what needs to happen with a secondary sport like golf. You got to have people that want to support it for it to do even better than it does. And I think they are on the right track. And good for JC Deacon. He's really got it going over there.
Yeah, for sure. I also want to give a shout out to RJ Fuhrer, the head coach of Oak Hall. They won their first ever state championship in football in the league they play in. I apologize to the league, but RJ does a fine job. for the Oak Hall Eagles.
I love that.
Congratulations to them.
Fantastic.
This on Facebook Live brought to you by Meldon Law from Charles. He says he also played in Gator Golf Day Friday, and a guy I played with said 2 weeks ago Lane was a done deal, but as of late, Strickland wanted to hire a general manager, have a final decision over a roster.
Well,
Lane said absolutely not. We shall see.
yeah, we shall see. That's what your new answer is going to be about everything, QB.
Well, what the hell? I don't know, JC.
I
I'm not
know,
in the
but man,
meeting.
you're very emphatic, and I give you credit for that. I told you over and over again. I like the fact that you said it with authority, with emphasis, that you weren't just playing two sides of the street like everybody else that podcasts and broadcasts and does whatever, speaks to the masses. At least you said it. He's coming here. I believe he's coming here.
Sticking to it.
I'm not changing my mind.
I'm not.
What? There you go.
Gene on Facebook Live says, how was the swag from Gator Golf Day? Well, Gene, you should be there to find out. It was very nice. It's always good swag. Hell, I'm on the board, Gene, so you know it's going to be good.
Damn, Gene, you missed it. I missed Gene.
Gene, open the checkbook up,
Why
Gene.
didn't Gene show up? That's exactly the kind of thing he'd want to do.
Yeah. JB wants to know on Facebook Live, is Coach Deacon recruiting Charlie Woods? I believe they are.
Why wouldn't they?
Boy, their team is loaded this year.
God, those kids. My goodness. And
They hit it so far.
how
It's
many
crazy.
they have 3 Parkers on that team, if I'm not mistaken. I had a Parker take my clubs to the pro shop to the cart. I had a Parker that hit a 2-iron 290 in the air and landed at 10 feet from the pole on number 17. And I had another Parker who tried to make that putt that the first Parker hit, or the
That's
second
right.
Parker. These kids are amazing athletes, guys. You got something really cooking with golf, and support them during the Gator Invitational. That's the only chance you get to watch them play here.
This Day in Sports brought to you by Campus USA Credit Union, where proud member Stephen Orr Spurrier banks.
Yeah.
Do you think he has all his money at Campus USA Credit Union?
No, I don't think they will.
2024, the NFL
But it's a great
running back Saquon Barkley set a new franchise game record of 255 yards rushing over the LA Rams at SoFi Stadium. Your team, JC.
Yeah, well, my team's pretty damn good right now.
They're
And
very
so are
good.
my
Their
Cowboys. My
quarterback
wife's
is
Cowboys.
incredible.
Look at my wife's Cowboys beating the Eagles yesterday, down 21 points. Who would have thought that? And my Rams, by the way, are just look at these Rams. They play defense. That Shula, the defensive coordinator, has done a great job there, and they've drafted excellent. They've gotten some players off free agency that I'd never heard of, and they're playing out of their minds. That's Snead, the general manager, and Sean McVay is one of the best play callers, if not the best play
He's
caller.
so good. Him and Stafford are
they're magic.
on
And
point.
Devontae Adams, there's a reason why he's leading the league in touchdowns, because of the routes he runs and the fact that Stafford can put it exactly where he needs it. That's what Rodgers did, and that's why he won in Green Bay, and that's why they were good. Because this guy's a great route runner, this Devontae Adams.
Wally Gator on YouTube, brought to you by Quad Pump, says Urban Meyer deserves to be in the ring of honor. Should have been done 5 years ago. Not even up for discussion. He's going in. However, and I there's no doubt he deserves to be in there, but I still think Lomas Brown and Carlos Alvarez should have been in.
Well, Lomas Brown, Hall of Fame, NFL player. Yeah. But like you said, it's about their Florida career, and it was a great career for Lomas Brown.
But they're in the College Football Hall of Fame, JC.
I know. Should be around the Ring of Honor. Absolutely. Oh, Andrew Pritchett says I'm exhausting. Well, listen, I had a great day on Friday, so I'm going to tell everybody about it because QB lets me. I did. I had a great day. I had a great day Saturday. It's just the game went poorly. But
Oh, so bad.
Yeah.
All right, JC, we appreciate all your efforts today. We will talk to you later in the week.
Okay. See you Wednesday.
That's JC joining us on the Titan More Hotline, courtesy of Comfort Tent. We're going to take a quick timeout. We'll come back. We'll be joined by Mike Morgan. We'll get his thoughts on what he's hearing and what he's up to. You're watching and listening to PodUp with Matthews in the Morning from the International Diamond Center Studios. We'll be right back.
Our premium sponsors are Atlantic Roofing, Campus USA Credit Union, International Diamond Center, J.F. Hayden's Craft Liqueurs, Los Landeros Tequila, Meldon Law, Titan MRI and Imaging, UF Health Orthopedics. Our gridiron sponsors are Baker's Sports, Comfort Tent, Electronics World, Florida Cracker Kitchen, Florida Victorious, Gallo Car Wash, Miapa Latin Cafe, Peachland Dental, Quality Plumbing, Ogre State Farm, Silverback Concrete, 84 Lumber, Big Mills Cheesesteaks, Celebrate Primary Care, Gator Bait Media, Gator Dominoes, Ironwood Golf Course, McDonald's of Gainesville, Tropical Smoothie Cafe, UF Bookstores, Advocare, and MG&A Wealth. Watch and listen to us live on Facebook and YouTube. Listen to the podcast whenever on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. Remember to like, follow, and subscribe so you don't miss any episodes. And if you want to advertise, give my man Freddie a call at 352-284-3733.
Coach, you know what always impressed me? How you beat Florida State to win the 1996 National Championship.
And I was really impressed with your 06, 08, and 09 Gator teams.
And the way you coached Danny to the Heisman Trophy.
A lot like what you did with Tim Tebow.
You know, you won more SEC championships than you lost home games at the Swamp.
And you had plenty of super games in front of our Gator Nation.
Yeah, there really is something special about the Swamp.
I guess that's why we say about the Swamp, only the Gators get out alive.
To the Swamp and the Gators, with the best beverage served at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill, 100% agave, Los Landeros tequila, aged in bourbon barrels for a smoother taste.
I think you mean head beer coach, 1966 lager, a crisp, light, bodied lager for easy drinking.
Nope. Los Landeros tequila, smooth enough to drink neat and bold enough to elevate a cocktail.
1966 lager, enjoyed on game days in the fall or whenever you need a winning cold brew.
Los Landeros tequila.
1966 lager.
Los Landeros.
1966 lager.
Y'all stop bickering.
Okay, you're both wrong anyway. The best thing Spurrier's Gridiron Grill offers are Jerry's famous chocolate chip cookies.
Hi there, this is Coach Steve Spurrier, and I want to let you know that by popular demand, Spurrier's Gridiron Grill's delicious brunch is now served in a premium buffet. You have spoken, we have listened, and we're now serving Gainesville's only elevated buffet, complete with an omelet station, ginger sage chicken sausage, shredded short rib, and of course our chicken and waffles. Plus, you can enjoy bottomless mimosas and Bloody Marys. So join us every Saturday and Sunday from 11 to 3 for the best brunch in town.
What's up, everyone? I'm Mike Pouncey, and this is my twin brother Marquise Pouncey, and this is Life After Football. Let's go. We are the owners of Tropical Distillery, and JF Hayden's is our liqueur brand. We have 5 different flavors: a mango, a lychee, an espresso, citrus, and key lime pie. We pride ourselves on not only being a Florida-made brand, but also a cocktail solution. With that being said, cheers and go Gators.
Welcome back to the International Diamond Center Studios. Gallo Car Wash is locally owned by UF alum and the only car wash that provides NIL opportunities to Gator athletes. Locations on Northwest 13th Street, Wilson Road, and coming soon to Jonesville. Back to the Titan More Hotline, courtesy of Comfort Tent. We're joined by our good friend of the program, Mike Morgan, who was in Happy Valley calling Nebraska Penn State, and you will be at Texas A&M Friday night, correct?
I will be. As good a game as there will be this weekend, and a lot riding on it as well for both teams with a lot of implications. I'm not so sure Texas doesn't have a chance here. I think if Auburn beat Alabama and Texas beats Texas A&M, Texas will be the only school in the country to have 2 wins over top 8 teams in Oklahoma and A&M. And remember, they beat Vanderbilt too, pretty much smoked the Commodores. So you're looking at quality wins. They'd be 9-3 with a lot of quality wins, perhaps more so than Alabama would at that point. Who knows? But this is a game I've wanted to do for a while. I'm so glad that rivalry is back where it should be, which is every year they will play with the 9-game conference schedule and the permanent opponent structure. Haven't done a game in Austin in about 15 years. It's been a while, but a great place for a big time matchup. It's unopposed, so it's Friday night. So we will have the only game in town that Friday night. You've got the Egg Bowl, and then you've got Georgia Tech, which is actually playing in the Dome. That'll feel like an Atlanta. That'll feel like a Georgia Bulldog home game. And then our game that night on Elite Media Network. So if your station's not carrying it, my gosh, hit the program director over the head and tell him to wake up.
I will do that. I will do that for sure. This text from Mike on the Titan More text line says, please sound the alarm on the Gators lame running out of the tunnel entrance. I don't know when they ruined that. Bring back the old, this is the swamp, only Gators get alive, and here come the Gators. Yeah, it's I can't even see the stuff on the jumbotrons from our booth because we're blocked out. But I'm going to make a huge effort in a couple things here, Mike Morgan, when we get a new coach. I've had multiple people talk to me about this. One is the band playing Gator bait. I don't give a damn what anybody says. It's not
right.
issue, blah, blah, blah. Okay. That's the first issue. The second is the introduction on the Jumbotron and us running out of the stadium. We're going to go back to the old days. I'm going to do everything I can. I have no power, but whatever I need to do, because I can't tell you how many people mention this to me at games, on text lines, anytime I see them. So at least we can do that. We still may not win any games, but we're going to do it that way.
Exactly. You don't have direct power, but you have the bully pulpit, which is the number one Gator show 5 days a week on this format, which is heard throughout the country. So you got more power than you might be giving yourself credit to, because I think a lot of people tune into this show, and obviously a lot of them are very frustrated. But you're right. Some things you can't control. You try to get the best coach you can, and they've tried, and it hasn't worked now 4 consecutive times, which is really hard to spit out when you think about it. But some things you can certainly control, and that's all the quote-unquote little things. The little things add up to be big things, and I think that's where a lot of fans are coming from. Like, let's be sure to get those things right.
Yeah. Mike, I don't know if you got to see any of our game against Tennessee. It was a very bad effort, just a bad football game, maybe the worst I've ever seen in all my years of being a Gator. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Well, number one, I don't like the game being played in November. That's not an excuse. Growing up, that game, third week of September, must-see TV, one of the biggest games in the country, not just between the two schools. I don't know what the plan is moving forward on that. I understand the SEC is trying to – I look at a lot of things now from a TV standpoint, because that's still a big part of my profession. They don't want a situation – everybody was calling this past weekend SoCon Saturday, where – all the SEC teams beat up on the Sisters of the Poor. So you want to have at least a couple of primo matchups. So you had potentially a couple of them. Oklahoma, Missouri, I think that looked a lot better on paper at the beginning of the year than it actually was as a matchup this year. Oklahoma was just, if you watch that game, and I saw more of that because that was earlier than I did Florida, Tennessee, that was a mismatch. And then they thought Florida, Tennessee at the beginning of the season would be, again, just a premier matchup, because Tennessee has been good and Florida was supposed to be good. Well, obviously it wasn't. And when you look at it, there's way too many games this year. This is to me the one thing troubling about college football right now. I could give you 100 things that are great about it and never been better. But what is happening is, there are multiple teams. Florida's one. Auburn is another. There's a couple more in the SEC. LSU. You saw LSU struggle to beat Western Kentucky. That was weird. Where the fan bases are just, and the teams seem to almost like have checked out. Like, yeah, this season's a wash. Just wake me up when we got our new football coach. Wake me up when we got Lane Kiffin. And I hope we don't get to that point where, when the season is disappointing, then the game just becomes irrelevant. mean, I got to see Florida give its best effort against Ole Miss. I mean, I was there for that one, and Florida came to play. Shane, you saw it firsthand too. So I would have assumed at home against Tennessee, you would have gotten another stellar effort, but I think you got anything but, and certainly Florida looks like a team that just can't wait for the season to be over. I would hope against Florida State, there's going to be so much talking on the field. This kid played that kid in high school down in Pahokee versus Glade Central. I mean, whatever the case may be. I hope that you'll at least see a great effort because these games still do matter. I get it. The season's a complete dumpster fire, and everybody's worried about is it going to be Lane or not. But in the all-time history of things, when Florida State plays, like that should matter, and who wins should matter. So hopefully the team shows a little bit more pride in that game on Saturday.
No doubt about that. Let's talk about the Iron Bowl. Huge game for Alabama. I believe if they win it, they go to Atlanta. There's a lot of scenarios out there, but first of all, I was talking to JC about it because they played the true freshman Deuce Knight at quarterback. And again, he ran all over Mercer, I guess it was, but did some good things. I don't know if he'll play in this game due to redshirt. I don't know. I don't know the Auburn roster and who's played what, but this is a dicey game because I want to say it's in Auburn, correct?
It is. Yeah. It certainly is, and it is dicey. Remember 2 years ago, what will forever be known as the 4th and 33 game.
Yeah.
It was the last time Jalen Milroe did anything of consequence. He rolled out and bought time, and then on 4th and 33 found a receiver in the end zone. And I think you could make the argument Auburn has never recovered from that. Like that was the end of Hugh Freeze and this Auburn era. Kind of like when was it Marco Wilson throws his sneaker?
Yeah.
Right. I mean, has Florida ever been the same since that moment?
No.
By the way, McPherson misses a field goal. That's an NFL kicker that normally makes that kick. I realized it was in the fog, but anyway, no, I think Auburn is more than capable. Look, Auburn's, the thing about these teams like Auburn and Florida and LSU, they've all got athletes. I mean, they've all got players that the sum should be better than the parts that we're seeing. Like there's no excuse for some of these teams to have looked as bad as they have in certain games this season. And I get it. Like now more than ever, when you've got a situation where a coach gets fired, all these players are shopping themselves around. They're all talking. There's no such thing as tampering, apparently. Like anybody can just call anybody and try to poach their players in the middle of the season. I mean, those things are happening.
Yep.
So as if college athletes didn't have enough distractions like when you played, Shane, now they're sitting there and they're acting as free agents and trying to figure out who's going to give them an extra $50,000 to go to school XYZ. So I guess as an interim coach, which in those three cases, that's what we're talking about. You're just trying to see if you can get them focused for a big game here and there. And these are all big games. So if Auburn is focused, whether it's Deuce Knight or not, I've seen Auburn. They've got very good athletes on defense. They got one of the best receiving corps in the SEC. They've got capable backs. Like they could win that game. There's no doubt in my mind they could win that game. It's just, do you have enough pride to look yourself in the mirror and say, this is potentially my last game in an Auburn uniform, and I got a chance to beat my in-state rival. I'm going to give everything I have tonight.
Georgia Tech, as you said, they're playing in the Mercedes-Benz Dome, so it's going to be a Georgia home game. I think Tech moved it there to make more money. I don't know why they did that.
Correct. That's why. Yep, you got it.
Look, Georgia Tech got blasted by Pitt last week at home. I think Brent Key's a really good football coach. I think he's done a phenomenal job. I don't need him as our coach because it's boring football. I think he's perfect for Georgia Tech. I just think Georgia rolls them. Am I crazy?
I do too. No, I mean, Georgia Tech should have lost to Boston College, for crying out loud. I think the secret sauce is out. I mean, Haynes King is a phenomenal athlete, but they don't have much else. So if you bottle Haynes King up, Georgia Tech's done. They don't have the athletes of a Georgia. I know this game went 2,700 overtimes last year. It was a phenomenal finish. And, of course, Georgia won. And I don't think it's going to be that close this time. And the fact that it's in the Georgia Dome, or now the Mercedes Dome, that's going to be essentially a home game for Georgia. So Georgia Tech will cash a nice check over that. But you just allowed an extra 30,000 Georgia fans to get tickets. And so it's going to feel like a University of Georgia homecoming. And I think they'll just be too much. I think Gunnar Stockton right now and that team and Kirby's culture, it's just going to be too much for them and too good for them. So I actually think of the 3 rivalry games we just spoke about, that one could be the least competitive of the bunch.
Yeah. Let's talk about the Egg Bowl. It's Friday at noon. I think that time is weird for me for the Egg Bowl. I just wish they'd go back to playing that thing on Thanksgiving night. It's in Stark Vegas. Any chance upset here, or Ole Miss wins easily?
Chance, yes. And I don't know if Ole Miss wins easily. I think this could be a little bit of a scary game. Lane obviously has had the challenge of keeping his teams focused. I was impressed with what Lane did. You go back to that Florida game, everybody and their grandmother's talking about, is Lane going to Florida? Is Lane going to LSU? What does Lane do? He shows up on the Pat McAfee show on Monday with Keywan Lacey, who ran for 200 and 3 touchdowns. And he's just talking and joking away like, well, there's no coaching issue here. I'm not going anywhere. I mean, he didn't say that, but he kind of like, he wants you to believe that the culture is fine. Nobody is distracted. We're all focused and we're all one unit. And maybe he's right. I don't know. I'm not in that locker room. But that is one thing that you would certainly be concerned about, because I don't know how he's going to handle this, Shane. You've been talking for months and you've been spot on that this decision was going to happen right around the Egg Bowl. So is there possibly a way, if he's leaving, is there possibly a way for him to keep that a secret until after the game with his players? I don't know. There's Pete Thamel, there's Ross Dellinger, all these guys out there right now trying to break this story. Can they keep it a secret until Saturday at noon? That'll be very interesting to me.
Yeah, I think his players know he's leaving. They may not know where he's going, but I don't think they care, because either they're okay staying there with whoever the new coach is, because a lot of kids on Ole Miss they may have grown up Ole Miss fans, right? They were going to go to Ole Miss no matter what. But the other kids can go with Lane wherever he goes if he wants to take them. So we'll see.
So you think he's gone, though?
I do think he's gone. I just don't know where.
Okay. Well, I'm with JC on this. I admire the fact you have dug. I mean, there's been like these cryptic tweets. I know where Lane's going, but I'm not going to say. Like, don't do that. If you're going to try and break a story, I'm talking about the national guys now, then put your name on it and put your what out there on the chopping block, or just don't report anything at all. That's okay too. But I can't stand that. My sources tell me that it's going to, but I'm not going to put my name on it and tell you where he's going to be. You have been steadfast on this, and you have very good sources. And look, if he does go to LSU, it doesn't mean that your sources were wrong. Wayne's entitled to change his opinion, and that's a possibility here too. It might have been Florida for 2.5 months, and then all of a sudden something clicked. Something happened. They're all offering the same financial package.
Yeah.
I mean, this is truly phenomenal, right? This is like Jimmy Sexton, who's got a binder, and it's like, okay, the 5 things that Lane Kiffin requires, and all 3 programs have said, we'll sign off on that. So now it's, if you're like a real estate agent, everybody's got the same offer. So, who would you rather sell it to? Or in the case of Lane, what city would you rather buy the same house? It's 3 of the identical houses in 3 different cities. You need to decide which one you'd rather live in. And I honestly, at this point, nothing would surprise me. I said all along, and I think you used to say this, I just couldn't see LSU. It just didn't seem like a fit to me for Lane Kiffin. Not because LSU's not a great program. LSU's got great recruiting. LSU's got great it's the only program that anybody cares about in the entire state of Louisiana. I get all that. I just didn't think I couldn't see Lane in Baton Rouge, but that could be entirely wrong. Yeah. I mean, nobody really knows. We're going to find out in 5 days, but it's going to be very interesting to see what was the final thing in his decision-making process.
Yeah, it's you're right. The money is not the issue. Everybody has the same proposal out there, so to speak. So before we get you out of here, we got a couple of YouTubers. I'm going to kind of combine them and have you comment on them. These are from Rod and UF Gators on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plumbing. Rod says, Shane, is Gator Media pushing this narrative about Kiffin coming here just like they pushed the narrative that this team was a playoff contender? How will that affect the next coach coming in? And then UF Gator says, everything UAA is doing this time is behind the scenes through the search firm and not front and center like whatever LSU is doing. You know, a lot of people say that we haven't really said much publicly where LSU's kind of running their mouths out there. I don't know what's going to happen there, but back to the playoff, I think a lot of people thought this team was going to be a pretty decent team because they ended the season with 4 victories. If you go back and watch the tape, I don't know how we won those games. So we are what we are. You got any comments on any of that stuff, Mike?
Well, I mean, it's not like a conspiracy. The national media was pushing Florida for any nefarious reason. They looked at the end of the season. They looked at those wins that you just spoke of, and they looked at DJ Lagway coming back, the portal, Billy Napier having his most talented team, right? We can all agree this was his most talented team on paper. And they said, well, if they won 8 games last year, why can't they win 10 games this year? I mean, it's not really more. Don't give the national media more credit than that. They just looked at returning starters, portal, returning quarterback. I mean, some people thought DJ Lagway was going to be first team All SEC this year. And I'm not just talking about people working for Gator Bait magazine or whatever. I'm talking about national media folks thought Lagway was going to be first team All SEC and a Heisman Trophy candidate. And he's been anything but. So that's where that narrative comes from. In terms of the search firm, look, I think everybody hires a search firm now, whether or not you've got an AD or a president or the governor, you know, screaming from the mountaintop what we're going to do. I don't know if any of that means anything. At the end of the day, Lane's going to go where I always make this comment because people give ADs way too much credit. You don't go to a school because the AD just completely won you over. This is not The Bachelor. You know, they're not like real charming over a steak dinner in downtown Gainesville, and that's going to be what pushes it past the goal line. With the money all being the same, the financial packages all being the same, and 3 really good jobs. I'm not going to say they're all the same, but 3 really good jobs because Lane's made Ole Miss a good job. It really comes down to where Lane and his family would rather be. That's what so no search firm is going to push it over the top. You know, no incredible like, hey, but we've got this membership at the local golf and country club. Yeah, when you're making that kind of millions of dollars that Lane's going to make, comping a country club is not going to make much of a difference. So the process will be talked about, Shane, but here's what I'll say. This is not going to be about the process. This is going to be about just a pure, I would rather be here geographically than there. And I don't know what the answer to that's going to be, but I really think that's what it comes down to more than the process itself.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at just LSU and Florida, for example, they're kind of the same program. Tremendous fan bases. You've won national titles. You've had Heisman winners. You're going to get great athletes. It's where's the best fit for you? And I'll still stand by. I think the best fit for him is here. Not because I'm a Gator. I look at it just from an outside perspective, and it just makes more sense. So we'll find out in a few days, Mike. And enjoy Austin, Texas. Calling that game should be now. Let me ask you this: if A&M loses it, do they still go to Atlanta or no?
It's not a guarantee. No, if Texas A&M loses, you could have an Alabama Georgia SEC championship game, I believe.
I'll be damned.
Yeah,
That'd be something new.
yeah, yeah. I know, right? Sound familiar? So now A&M is going to be in the playoff no matter what.
Right.
But certainly they want to continue this magical season, and it's Texas, so I mean they're going to be full of you know what and vinegar to try to win the game. But yeah, there's a few things. I think Ole Miss still has an outside shot of Atlanta as well. So I think you have 4 teams that are still in the hunt for the final 2 in the SEC championship game.
Good stuff as always, my man. We appreciate your time. Have a good call out there, and we'll talk to you next week.
Okay, thanks, Shane. Looking forward to it.
That's Mike Morgan. Join us on the Titan More Hotline, courtesy of Comfort Temp. Injuries occur whenever and however, and it's never convenient. For sprains, strains, and minor fractures, UF Health Orthocare makes it convenient for you. 7 days a week, including evenings, and walk-ins are welcome. Go check them out. UF Health Orthopedics and Sports Medicine. Thanks to Mike and JC for joining the program. A few more days, we'll find out who our coach is going to be, I guess. Have a great day, folks. See you tomorrow.